I am almost certainly going to kill this plant, but that has never stopped me before, and it's not stopping me now. Hi everyone, I'm Erin the Impatient Gardener. I live and garden here in southeastern Wisconsin, Zone 6A, which is important because this plant has been on my dream plant list for a long time, and it is not even remotely hardy here. This is Diorama pulcherrimum painted tips. Angel's fishing rod is the very appropriate common name for this plant. And I have loved this plant from the first time I saw it because it is so up there with what I like in plants, and I'm always looking for more of these, which are these sort of ethereal plants that are almost whimsical in their habit. So, as you might expect from the common name, this plant will grow up into a big arcing stem and beautiful little flowers just kind of nod around at the tip of them. And the only thing that's stopping me from this is the fact that it's not going to grow here. So I happen to be placing an order recently with Digging Dog Nursery, which is in California. So Digging Dog is actually a nursery that I believe you can go visit, but of course I shop there online because it's in California. And they sell really interesting plants that you usually can't find in other places. I happen to be ordering something else from them. Otherwise I would not have gone for this, but shipping is incredibly expensive from them. They always come great, it's worth it, but you do want to make the most of your shipping. So I thought, you know what, let's try it. Part of the reason I actually decided to try it is because Digging Dog actually in a newsletter earlier this year, one of their newsletter subjects was you can grow a diorama in a container. So that's what we're going to try to do today. I'm just going to temper everybody's expectations here and say, first of all, this is a pretty immature plant and diorama is not super fast growing. So it seems unlikely to me that much would happen with this plant in one season. And it probably needs to happen in one season because I have no expectation of how I might be able to overwinter this thing. It's not that I won't try, I will. But I'm not going to have, if it works, it works, and I will feel great about it, but I have no expectation that it will work. So let me show you how we're going to plant this thing, and then we can watch it throughout the season and see how long it takes me to kill it. I'm going to start with one of these mesh drainage discs that I've sort of cut to fit the bottom of this pot. This is something I discovered last year, and there was a brand of one that I really liked, which I actually can't remember the name of right off the top of my head. That doesn't seem to be being made anymore, so I found this on Amazon. It was actually cheaper. I don't like it quite as much. The other ones seemed better because they had like a higher sort of mesh edge on them. But this will do. And I really like these for the bottom of pots. I think first of all, they don't let the drain hole clog at all. And I think they prevent things like slugs and whatever, if that's how that would work, but things from coming up through the hole too. So I quite like that. Okay, so the soil that I'm using, this is a bit of a trip actually. You guys know that I love Organic Mechanics container blends. I've been using them exclusively now for probably 4 or 5 years. They're peat-free, they're compost-based, they are amazing. I love them so much. I reuse them year to year. It's fabulous. Well, this year they came out with a new soil and it's called their 110 blend. And this has a very specific market in mind for it. Well, first of all, let's just look at what's in it. So it's cocoa core perlite, biochar, compost, worm castings, bone char, volcanic ash, zeolite, alfalfa meal, and kelp meal in it. So this is actually a blend developed for cannabis growers. So I like to pay attention to what the cannabis growers are doing because cannabis growers are very good at horticulture. Many of the really good grow lights that we have now came from the cannabis industry. Some of the soil blends are quite interesting. Cannabis growers, more than a lot of growers, have a very vested interest in making sure that what they are growing grows well, because obviously it's a high value crop. So when cannabis growers really adopt a product, I like to pay attention to it because it's often going to work for a lot of things that aren't related to growing to cannabis. So along with my container blends this year, I also picked up a bag of 110 blend. And then I was talking to the owner of Organic Mechanics, which is Mark Hyland, and I said, well, tell me about that. And he said, well, it has amazing drainage. So this is, I believe, their only blend that has perlite in it. Most of their blends use rice hulls. For this, they needed even increased drainage from what their other ones have. And so that's why they are using perlite in this one, plus all this other good stuff. So what I know about diorama is that it needs very good drainage, but it also wants nutrition, which is why I think that diorama is the perfect plant to try this soil on. I am also going to add in some of their, I actually got some of their worm castings too, and I'm going to add some of those in here as well, because again, this diorama wants good nutrition, and I thought a little bit of worm castings in there might really kind of bulk it up a little bit. You probably see there's a lot of perlite in here. It's small crunched up pieces of perlite, not, generally speaking, not big chunks. I was also thinking that if I grew any tomatoes in pots this year, I might want to try tomatoes with this as well, because I think that tomatoes and cannabis have a lot of the same needs. Mix in a little bit. We're not going to go nuts because there actually is already worm composting in this, plus other stuff too. Oh, I have to tell you, it's if it's a really interesting soil. It feels really good, but you can tell. I mean, there's no holding this together. It feels like it's got good drainage. This guy's really resisting coming out of this pot. There we go. Oh, wow. Oh, okay, we're just going to like fall apart. Okay, suboptimal. Okay. Put you right about there. So obviously this experiment would have been better to start with a large plant, but again, because I think diorama is not a particularly common plant to begin with, and it's certainly not something that would ever grow around here, no garden center around here is going to sell these. Diorama wants full sun, and it will get nice hot sun here on the patio. So that is where we are going to grow this thing. We'll just see what happens with it. All right, folks, feel free to place your bets. We'll see what happens. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.